What's up, everybody? Steve here. I wanted to address what happened back in the last real estate recession because, at the age of 22, I got my real estate license. That was back in 2003. At the age of 25 in 2006, we started up our real estate brokerage. And, I was young and pretty naive because in that period of time, it truly was like taking orders because the regulations for financing were pretty much non-existent. So I learned a lot going through that real estate recession. Everything was great. Everything was fine leading up to it. And, I've never really experienced any kind of downturn in the market per se. And I really learned a lot, and I know that there's a lot of younger people are getting their real estate licenses, and I kind of want to address some of the signs that I wish I would have seen because, I personally was, even back then, I was buying real estate. And, 30 days later, flipping it without even doing any work to it, and it just didn't make sense. And I want to address a handful of things with you guys so you guys are prepared if the market does correct and we do see the writing on the wall, that we can kind of be prepared for the next cycle. Because one thing that is consistent, there's always going to be peaks and valleys in any kind of market, especially the real estate market. It's going to go up, it's going to go down, it's going to flatten out. So back then, before the crash, they really opened up and removed pretty much any regulations in real estate financing. So, I was part of a lot of transactions that I didn't even necessarily agree with some people that were getting certain loans. And some of these loans, they were stated income and stated asset loans, meaning basically what I wanted to put on paper and show the bank how much money I was making and what my asset column looked like without them even verifying it. None of it made sense. And I've had these conversations back when with other real estate investors that I worked with, and we were all on the same page that a lot of it didn't make sense. But there was people that I knew that were not qualified. There were servers, there were bartenders, there were just a lot of people that were buying not just one property. They were buying 1, 2, 3, 5, 6 different properties, and they're all on the train to build their real estate portfolios and get wealthy. But the problem was it was all artificial, and unfortunately a lot of people got stuck holding that bag. And when the real estate market crashed, a lot of those people, they had tenants in there paying, but supply and demand, the supply increased for the amount of rentals coming to the market. So the person that was getting, $1,500 a month for rent was no longer getting that, and they were now getting maybe $1,000 or $1,100, and that just didn't support the mortgage and all the expenses associated with it. So all these people were struggling with their mortgages, and then when they were getting ready to put them on the market, that they were upside down on their mortgages. So the only really other alternative was twofold. It was letting the property go back to the bank through foreclosure, or dealing in short sales, which that's what we eventually had to specialize in, and selling their properties through a short sale position. Now, the market was so insane that we had investors that wanted to buy real estate. Some were cash as well, and there was such a lack of property out there that other real estate investors were coming into our market in Florida, and they were buying entire apartment complexes, and then they were actually converting those apartment complexes into individual strapped condos. And I mean, it was a brilliant strategy because they brought more inventory to the market for purchase, But it was so insane back then that we literally had so many investors that wanted to buy into these types of properties. And one in particular, I remember, where actually I got my sister, who's my real estate partner, we had her actually camp out the night before along with hundreds of other people in line to get one of these condo conversions. And we had, you know, a handful of investors that bought into these complexes, and, you know, in one shot we were selling 5, 6, 7 units, and it was worth our time camping out to sell these units. And some of our investors bought these units, turned around and flipped them right away, made 30 grand, 50 grand. I mean, the market was just so ridiculous. And it all accounted to really financing and the lack of regulations for financing. And unfortunately, you know, the Frank Dodd Act and everything, the same politicians that loosened up the regulations were coming back and saying, you know, there's all this mortgage fraud going on and everything else. But the problem is they were part of the problem. They made that problem exist, and they artificially stimulated the real estate market. And a lot of people lost everything during that time. So what I want to address to you guys today is, you know, there was definitely writing on the wall, for one thing, but also in our real estate business, we had to pivot. We had to adapt to the new market, and we didn't know what the hell the new market was going to be, because we couldn't even sell regular inventory because nobody was buying real estate. And I quickly realized that we had to get educated on short sales, and I never even knew what a short sale was. I heard about shorting stocks, but not shorting a real estate mortgage. And unfortunately, we had to learn the process of doing short sales, and it was a beast. I mean, people were getting, just to back up a little bit, people were getting mortgages, and these mortgages were so unsafe. They were amortized over 30 years, meaning you had a payment based on a 30-year amortization, but they would balloon out in 3 years or 5 years, meaning they were in adjustable mortgages. They would basically adjust in a 3-year, 5-year period. And the kicker to boot, people were getting these loans, and that was 80% loan, 80% LTV, and the other 20% were second loans by lenders. So basically, you had lenders that were financing 100% of the loan, of the debt amount. So people were getting in stated income, no assets. They were buying properties, getting an 80% loan and a 20% loan with basically nothing out of pocket. And then we were like, well, will this even work in a short sale? And sure enough, we had to figure out getting the first lien holder, the 80% lien holder, to pay the second lien holder like $5 grand to get the short sale done. And anyway, it was a mess. And we had to learn short sales. We had to learn them quickly. We performed over 350 short sales. We did a lot of them. We've been part of the process with hundreds and hundreds more with our real estate agents in our office. One thing that really kept us afloat, and thank God we had it, was we were doing rental property management as well, and that provided us residual income. And we were so fortunate to have that, because, you know, we were definitely entering tough times. And I got some other videos of where I actually moved into my office and it was scary times, and we had to get lean or we were going to be the next to go out of business. So, and then eventually we also got into listing assets, listing bank REO assets, and also doing and performing BPOs, broker price opinions, to create more income. So if we did not adapt to that new market, we would have been out of business. There's no doubt about it in my mind, because those were the only things that were selling. And by having the rental property management and managing other investors' properties, we created that residual income for ourselves, and it worked out extremely well. And we were able to stay afloat, and not just stay afloat, we were actually able to thrive in that real estate market and help a lot of people as well, help people avoid foreclosure, which was a great feeling, because a lot of those people, you know, we helped them avoid foreclosure, and they were in fact able to buy even a year and a half later and get financing again, because they didn't have the foreclosure on the record. And so all in all, it worked out really well. And I do have courses on all of those in the description below. You guys can check those out. They're very affordable. I also have a bundle course as well that includes all of them, so you guys want to check that out. And anyway, I want you guys just to be aware that, you know, if you are in real estate, and right now we're coming into unprecedented times with the pandemic, and I really don't know what's going to happen into 2021, but I feel that we're going to see a surge of short sales. We're going to see a surge of foreclosures. I think that, you know, just prime example, you know, with what the pandemic created, you have, you know, 110,000 restaurants that have already gone out of business. You have, in the middle of the state in Florida, Disney, which is, you know, an economic bombshell over there, providing so many jobs and everything else. They just did another round of layoffs. I mean, they've laid off since the pandemic tens of thousands of people, and some of those people, you know, they're just not renting properties, they're homeowners as well, and they all have job losses, and they're trying to find new jobs. And so I think 2021, mid to maybe third quarter 2021, we're going to see a lot of things change in the real estate market, I predict. I think that there is a lot of writing on the wall. I think that the real estate market's pretty high right now as well. So, you know, it'd be different if interest rates were not so low, which I kind of think stimulated artificially the market again. If interest rates were not so low, we wouldn't have had such a demand for housing, which in turn decrease supply and increase value. Now, if the market does turn, which I anticipated it will, because values got so high, if there's a big surge of supply coming to the market, then we're going to see values come down and people be coming upside down from where they paid for the property to realistically what it's worth. So anyway, just wanted to give you guys some of my back experience in dealing with the real estate recession back in 2008. If you guys got any value out of this, I really appreciate a big thumbs up on this. And let me know if you guys went through the real estate crash back then and you're in the real estate industry. Comment below, how was your experience? Did you guys do short sales? Did you do foreclosures? You know, tell me about your experience in that market. I'd like to hear about it. And appreciate your time watching this. Thanks a lot.